Hello, everybody, and welcome to the PHLY Postgame Show, presented by Bet365. Download the Bet365 app and use code PHLY365 when you sign up. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. And boy, was that not an ordinary game for the Philadelphia Eagles, who snatch defeat from the jaws of victory, a 22-21 loss that, in my estimation, falls squarely on the shoulders of Nick Sirianni for late-game mismanagement in his decision to throw the ball on third down and then kick a field goal to invite a four-down, touchdown-only drive for the Falcons to bring in a loss as part of the equation, as opposed to going for it on fourth down and then making the Falcons have only 3 downs to work with and probably settle for a field goal. If Nick Sirianni's job is now game management, he has failed this test in the second game of the season, and that is why the Eagles are now 1-1. I am joined by Super Bowl winner Vinny Curry to my left, Jamie Lynch to his left, and Fran Duffy to his left. Jamie, I want to start with you. Where does this loss rank in recent memory in terms of just late game heartbreak?
It's hard to think of a worse collapse like in recent memory. There's been worse losses, but there hasn't been that sort of. Fran started bugging me out right away. I'll be honest. He was like, I don't like the looks of this, like from the first play. And
they're talking like the game is over.
Yeah, and he was like, I don't like the way the announcers are talking. I don't like the feeling of this at all. And it started to like creep over to me. And it's just like, there's been worse losses, but I can't recall a worse collapse like that at the end in a long time.
Fran, the decision is 3rd and 3. There's about 1:40 left in the game. The Falcons are without timeouts. You would think, given the way that Saquon Barkley had been running, that they would have handed the ball off on third down, even if he doesn't get the first down, therefore ending the game. You bleed off another 35 seconds, and you're probably inviting either a tush push or a situation on fourth down when you can either pass or run, keeping the defense on its toes. Instead, they go to try to just go for the jugular and make the pass there. And sure, Saquon Barkley should catch that ball, but the decision-making there from Nick Sirianni has to leave you scratching your head.
To me, I think that especially knowing where this team came from a year ago, right, with the collapse at the end of the season, with the games ending the way they did, and I know this is a different team and it's a different year, and momentum isn't real carrying from 2023 to 2024, but you got to do what you can to come away with a victory. And that's what all we heard from this team a year ago when you had those ugly wins in the beginning, which every win is important in the NFL. There's no question about that. But at the end of the day, like you have to do what you have to do to come away with the W. Give the ball to Saquon Barkley in that situation. We said it in the moment, and yes, he should have caught the ball. He was wide open. Should have been a touchdown. They should have run the ball in that situation.
I just can't get over the fact that we have heard all offseason that, oh, Nick doesn't have to worry about the offense now. He's freed up to worry about the bigger things. He should be nailing these decisions. And this is coaching mismanagement. Like, this is malpractice. The decision there to invite the touchdown as a game-losing situation as opposed to settling for a potential overtime at worst situation is absolutely like day one stuff of the offseason. And it's all preceded by him pounding his chest after they get the decline of the tush push. And he's bopping his head around in front of Howie Roseman. Like, keep your head in the game. That decision is why the Eagles are not 2-0 now. Now, Vinny, I'm sorry that we haven't heard from you yet. I know that you are frustrated as Eagles fans.
I'm pissed, bro.
And you're wearing it on your chest. Like, what do you think the locker room is feeling right now?
Pissed. They better be feeling pissed. Oh, because I'm pissed. Dude, like, okay. I don't even think I've seen him. See anybody around him, okay, we kick it off.
I mean, the ease with which they were able to go down the field.
In the blink of an eye.
In the blink of an eye.
It felt like 4 or 5 plays. They just did whatever they wanted, and that was the worst the defense looked all night. And then I went, all right, well, they've been good in the red zone all night. Like they kind of saved the game in the first half. Maybe they'll step up here and answer the bell.
No type, like, it was no type of sense of urgency.
They went 70 plays and 70 yards in 6 plays.
Slade got cooked on that touchdown.
But Vinny, what I said earlier.
But defensively, as one person, but the defense as a whole, as a brother, shouldn't even put him in that predicament because they should have got a sack or 2 or a 4 something. We'll get the game over with. They had no timeouts.
If you're a defensive player in that situation, and the offense, they aren't able to punch it in. They aren't able to win the game there at the end there. Saquon drops the football. You were with the team last year. Does that creep into your mind like, here we go again? Or is that something that is far away?
That's far. As a defense, they should have said, yo, don't worry about it. We got y'all.
Yep.
But tonight, that wasn't the case.
No.
I'm pissed.
I mean, I think it goes the big issue. There's no pass rush on this team.
It is
legitimately like that you can count on.
If the Eagles had won this game, that would be the story tomorrow. That would be what we were talking about the rest of this week is where is the pass rush? 1 sack on Kirk Cousins in this game. Really not a lot of pressure at all. And, I mean, Brandon Graham looks like the best pass rusher on the team right now.
Right. He does.
Like
he's a vampire apparently.
He's unbelievable. And Milton Williams had a big sack in this game.
Yeah.
The only sack.
Carter wiggled through a couple times.
But for a defense that, I mean, Vinny, you know for sure, for decades, this team has been built around a dominant defensive line. Right now, it is not there.
No, it's not. But we're watching it and we're calling it. Like coaches was putting in the guys in particular. I mean, in position to win the one-on-ones. You got to win the one-on-ones. Everybody up there get paid the big bucks to win their one-on-one. I'm pissed. This is crazy. We hang our hats on defensive line play. You know what I mean? We used to get so angry if they was trying to blitz. Like, nah, we got it. The front four got it. The front four got it. I can't. Tonight I can't hang my hat on that.
So BG's like the remaining guy there that knows the culture, that believe. Like, is he? Like, what is he like tonight?
Tonight's like Logan Wolverine.
Yeah.
Yeah. He is like, you seen him flying around.
Yeah.
The feet flying around a little bit, but
because it's all new guys mostly,
exactly.
like a guy, Jordan Davis and Milton Williams are probably the next tenured guys. Well, Sweat, but BG's like the staple, and this is just not up to his par, I'm sure.
And by the way, it was not just the pass rush.
I know
they were getting blown off the ball in run defense too.
Yeah.
Bijan Robinson in this game runs for 6.9 yards per carry, 14 carries for 97 yards, and Tyler Algier 9 for 53.
And that's another thing. Like, dude, in the meetings, and I know the D-line coaches. Like, I'm pretty sure they are freaking pissed as well. The goal is to stop the run and then to pin your ears back.
Yep.
This is
the chat is already calling for you to come out of retirement.
Get in shape. You got a couple weeks.
Maybe next year. We got him. He's back off. And that's like the way that this game ended obscures how bad the defense was outside of third downs and red zones, like situational stuff. They were getting blown off the ball in the run game and in pass coverage. But I mean, all of that said, like they had the game won if Nick Sirianni just does the easy things there. And we're going to hear from Nick Sirianni. We'll carry his press conference live coming up shortly. We're also going to hear from Zach Berman, who's going to give us the sense of the locker room. We may hear from Jalen Hurts as well. Fran, I guess I want to move on from the Sirianni thing, but it's hard for me too because that's the reason they've lost this game.
Well, the one aspect of it that I've been scouring the NFL operations rulebook since the game has ended, trying to get an answer to this is so Drake London scores the touchdown.
Yeah.
There's the unsportsmanlike penalty that they take on the extra point. Do they have the option? Do the Eagles have the option to accept that penalty for the kickoff instead and give yourself a kick? What would that be from Atlanta's 20-yard line or something along those lines? You put yourself in a much better position to get into Jake Elliott's field goal range with potentially a first down. I'm still Google AI says
no. We're not trusting
AI. We're not trusting AI. ZB's not sitting in this chair right now.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to go through the rule book and see. I would imagine that Nick Sirianni is going to be asked about that in postgame.
I can't get over the decision to pass on third down. And listen, if you're in the middle of the field and it's a sort of different situation, I love passing on third down there and trying to catch the defense by surprise. Not when there are no timeouts left, the clock is already stopped, and not when on the play before you saw what Saquon Barkley did, where it looks like he's going to be caught for like a 3-yard loss, and he jiu-jitsus himself for a 3-yard gain. the way that Saquon Barkley was running tonight, I mean, he had 22 carries, and to me, he should have had 10 more carries. I am not Mr. Run the Ball, but Saquon looked awesome tonight.
He was the best player on the field.
Did not take full advantage.
He was the best player on the field tonight. And it was Mekhi Becton and Lane Johnson in the first half were just picking up dudes and moving them, and Saquon was running beyond. Like, he was a borderline. I said to Fran at one point, I was like, what's his chunk, like, explosive plays tonight? Because it feels like he's getting 7-8 yards, and it was only, close to 5 because he had a couple, minor losses. But it was a dominant play for them tonight, and they just didn't do it enough.
If you are willing to run the ball to pass the ball on third down there, run it. And then be willing to pass it on fourth down. Kicking the field goal there is so dumb.
Crazy. No, but listen, let's give that offensive line, let's go back to what you were saying. The offensive line played well tonight.
In the run game, they were and the pockets were beautiful tonight for Jalen. Yeah, overall, outside the BS,
a lot of time to work with,
penalties down the field, which are getting real annoying. The offensive line was great tonight.
And you did see Jalen himself running the ball better tonight when, there's such a difference for him when he's running side to side versus when he's running downhill, like the power that he runs with. He had 13 carries for 85 yards and a touchdown in this game, a few really big ones, especially on that first touchdown drive that they had in the second quarter. Nice to see that. And in a game in which the Eagles did not have A.J. Brown, we were sort of curious to see what the passing offense would look like. A bit of a surprise how much Britton Covey we got, I would say. 6 catches for 23 yards, including another one that was, or not including another one that was called back. Devontae Smith leads the way, 7 for 76 and a touchdown. Very surprising, only 3 catches for 38 yards on 4 targets for Dallas Goedert, Jamie.
I was heavily invested in the Dallas Goedert market tonight on Bet365.
Over-indexed there.
It's never ordinary at Bet365, Bo. Well, that was not what I expected. Me and you each had a prop of his in the pregame as our bets of the game. You just had 4.5 catches. I thought that was a layup. I took the 42.5 yards. I still thought that was low. I mean, I'm at the point where I'm on a text chain with some buddies going, is Dallas Goedert actually good? Like, I know he is.
He a beast, man.
Yeah, but there's plenty of times where he just doesn't show up. Is that defense is taking him away? I don't know. He confuses me to no end. There was a lot of Grant Calcaterra tonight, and he got blown up on a couple blocks. Yeah.
We definitely miss AJ tonight.
No doubt about it.
Yeah. Just a bit. Yeah.
No question.
No doubt about it. And so now the Eagles at 1-1, licking their wounds, are going to have to play on a short week, go down to New Orleans, which looks like one of the best offenses in the league. The defense is going to have a lot of work to do, Fran.
I mean, the run defense cannot be on Sunday what it was tonight. They're especially on the edge. Too many times Bryce Huff just getting worked on the edge, getting pinned inside, getting washed outside on some of those plays. He cannot do that in this game against the Saints. And so that is something that's going to have to get corrected. We saw it down the stretch. We didn't see much Bryce Huff. It was Nolan Smith in there as Atlanta was trying to run the football. Now we'll see what it looked like. I didn't take note of who was in there at left end on the final drive in that 2-minute drill. But to me, that's going to be something that they need to work on, certainly. And that was we said this after Green Bay, because Josh Jacobs ran roughshod over this defense in the second half in that game. So for me, the run defense, especially that front four, Vinny, you and I talked about it at halftime. Too many guys on the ground. Zach Bond was on the ground 4 or 5 times tonight from my count. And then the guys up front not getting off blocks well enough one-on-one.
And Vinny, well, you know what? We've got Nick Sirianni, it sounds like. So let's go to Nick Sirianni.
This league, right, to 22-21. Sometimes it just comes down to a couple plays, but it's never just one play. It's never just that play, because all the plays equal up to to the win or to the loss.
D lineman just had 1 sack in 2 games, not a lot of pressures. Are you getting enough from your pass rush, from your front four?
We'll obviously look at this game and see what happened. I think sometimes you have to earn the right to rush, meaning you got to have them in passing situations. It didn't seem like we had some passing situations today. They were in 3rd and manageable or 2nd and manageable. So sometimes you got to earn the right to rush. And like I said, when they're ahead of the sticks, that makes it a little bit harder on the pass rush. So we'll look at the tape of this game, and we'll see what happens. We'll see with what it is.
We see you guys use the tackle circuit a lot, but it seems like there's been a key moment. There's been a lot of missed tackles already. What do you do at this
point in the season? I know it's too early, but what do you do this season?
Yeah, it's early. We'll keep working on our tackling. We'll keep just like you keep working on your ball security, just like you keep working on your catch circuits, just like you keep working on trying to take away the football. But yeah, a couple missed tackles in some situations, a couple good tackles. I thought the guys really had great effort to the football. We knew we needed to do that with Bijan, the way he could kind of make somebody miss, and it felt like when he would make somebody miss, there'd be somebody right there in his hip. So we knew he would get some that would, he'd make some guys miss, but our emphasis was trying to make sure that we were there with the rest of the guys to pick up the pieces.
So is there any teaching point, anything to point out with those illegal downfield? I think there were 3 of them today. Some of them RPOs.
Some of them are on us as coaches. Some of them are on a player being down, going too fast. We coach that not to go too fast, but some of them are on us in the certain scenarios of when we call them. It's really hard to get called for, in my opinion, for a bubble screen. To being able to throw a bubble screen out there. I mean, that happened so quick, and but it looked like they made the right call on all those. It's just hard when you can't throw that bubble screen out there when they load the box on something like that. But we got to play the rules that are there. I thought, again, like I said, I thought the referees were right on the calls. Sometimes it was a coaching thing, sometimes a player thing.
Nick, with the player's side, are there decisions you would have done differently in hindsight?
Sure. Like anytime you go and you don't get points on a drive in the red zone, 4th and 3 in the first one, you're like, well, should I have went for that there? And I went for a 4th and 3 after that. After the completion to Dallas that got us to 4th and 3, we got that and we got points out of that. So anytime it doesn't work out, that's why I'm sitting in this seat, the head coaching seat. Like, I got to be ready for the consequences of whether it works or whether it doesn't work. And in that scenario, first off, obviously it didn't work. So obviously I'm going to second guess myself in those scenarios that it doesn't. Same thing on the 3rd and 3. It was an incomplete pass. So sometimes that works, sometimes it doesn't work. And all I can do is go back and review those and say, did I like what we did here? Would we do it again, or would we change directions next time? Everything's thought out of what we want to do, but that's this game of football. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, and in those cases it didn't, and so I got to rethink it.
Nick, with Jalen's interception late there, were you comfortable with him pushing the ball down the field?
Yeah. We got press man on it, one of our best players, and I didn't see the entire play. It looked like. I'll have to see what happened, but the intent of that play was to go down the field, and he took a chance, and guy made a good play. I'll have to look at the play and see what happened.
It looked like running the ball, Jalen had a burst that he hadn't had in a while. Did you guys pick up on that? Like, did you want to lean on him in the run games?
Yeah, some of his big runs came on scrambles, and there was a couple that were on called runs, and. I thought, obviously, anytime an interception happens, you're going to want that back. But I thought, I looked up at the scoreboard at one point. He was 20 of 25, making a lot of plays for our team, both in the run game and the pass game. I thought he really played an outstanding game. Again, we'll all have things that we want back. I think the biggest issue on offense, we weren't good enough in the red zone. But Jalen did a lot of things to help us to be in that football game and have a chance to win that football game. He played a really good game. Obviously the last play didn't go as we wanted.
You mentioned the early 4th and 3. What was your thought process on 3rd down? Had you decided then that you were going to go for it? 4th?
Well, sometimes, you can't just be every time it's 3rd and 3, say you're going to run it, right? You got to teams obviously pick up on that. And if you're every time you're 3rd and 3, you're going to run it. Every time you're and set yourself up for 4th down. So sometimes you got to throw quick. Sometimes you got to run it. Sometimes you got to set yourself up. Sometimes you have 2 opportunities to get it on 3rd and 3 with 2 passes. Sometimes you have the opportunities to get it with runs. So
It's
again,
the what if game.
we can't just be so predictable that we're going to say, hey, every 3rd and 3, if you're in 4-down mode, that you're going to run the football. That's just not realistic in this league. There's too many good coaches in this league. Hey, it didn't work in this particular one, and shoot, I'd like to have those back.
To clarify on the calls, though, Kellen's making, that's
Kellen's the offense coordinator that makes Kellen's offense coordinator makes the calls. Yeah, if you're trying to stir that up.
31
Yeah, I'm the head coach.
Okay, so
On the broadcast, they said AJ's going to miss a few weeks. Is that your?
We'll see. I don't like. We'll see. I don't know that yet. I won't give you that information yet. I don't because I don't know. I mean, we'll see how that goes.
You lose a player of that magnitude late in the week. You already had game plan, I guess, Wednesday, and he's such a big part of it. How much does that change it for you?
Yeah, you adjust it, but I mean, that's happened to us. Like we've been in this league long enough where those things have happened. You play enough games that happens, and we have contingency plans, and you change the game plan around. You still want to attack them a certain way, but now you're going to use different players and how you attack them, and so. Obviously, AJ being down, he's one of the best players in the NFL, so you're going to miss him. But us having the time to go over and switch everything, we have plenty of time to do that. And like I said, I think that the offense where we struggled on offense was more so in the red zone because we moved the ball well. So it was those struggles in the red zone that we got to get corrected because you got to score points down there. And sometimes it was because, like I said, like you guys have said, I went for it in those scenarios. Sometimes we stopped ourselves.
Nick, you went back to it, but when you're giving up 4, 5, 6 yards on 1st and 2nd down running plays, it puts you in a bad spot when you rush the passer. Is there anything schematically that needs to change to guard against the run up front?
Every game's a little bit different, and there's many different ways that you can put yourselves in positions. Obviously, it starts with our fundamentals and technique of how we get movement, right? That's where it's always going to start. You can call, we can call whatever we want. It's going to come down to our fundamentals of how this is football, and it doesn't matter what level you're at. It's how you tackle. It's how you defeat blocks. That's how you get, you pierce the line of scrimmage. And then we got to be able to make sure we put them in position to succeed. And there's plenty of ways to do it. Sometimes it's, with 5 down front. Sometimes it's with a 6 down front. Sometimes it's with the pressure. Sometimes it's with secondary pressure. Sometimes it's with blitz 0. Sometimes it's moving the front. I mean, yeah, we got to do what we need to do to help put them in positions. But it's not just ever, hey, do this to stop this. I mean, that's just not how football works. There's many different answers, and we got to find the right answers and help put the guys in position, and the guys got to make plays.
All right, we've got Jalen in the hall.
All right, that's Nick Sirianni, who is never ordinary, just like, well, not as good as our friends at Bet365 because Bet365 has 90 million users worldwide. They also live stream 780,000 plus events each year with early payout offers across the NBA, NFL, NHL, and MLB. Bet365 pioneered live in-game betting, and today they offer the widest range of games and markets available for live in-game betting across 78 sports. Right now, new customers can get $200 in bonus bets when you bet just $5. Use the code PHLY365 to sign up, deposit $10, and place a bet for $5 to get $200 in bonus bets. Bonus bets can be used on the spread, totals, player props, futures, and more. It's never ordinary at Bet365. See for yourself with our SGP Sunday offer. Place qualifying parlay bets totaling $20 or more on Sunday's NFL games and get up to $25 in bonus bets. Terms and conditions apply. Download the app and use code PHLY365 when you sign up. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Plus, they've got boosts and all other kind of good stuff that can help you have a little extra hooch in the game. Download the Bet365 app. Use code PHLY365 when you sign up to get $200 in bonus bets when you bet $5, whatever the moment. It's never ordinary. At Bet365, must be 21 or older and physically located in Pennsylvania. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call or text 1-800-GAMBLER.
And this right here is
sweet nectar.
a sweet nectar after a devastating loss like that. And that's our friends over at Miller Lite. It's the original light beer since 1975, and to this day, it's still the best one. Whether you're out at a tailgate, on the golf course, at the pool, the beach, the mountains, whatever it is, it's light and refreshing. You're not going to get that bloated beer feeling because a lot has changed since 1975, but Miller Lite hasn't, because they dropped everything that doesn't matter and held on to what matters most. A light beer that tastes like beer should taste. They keep it simple. They strip away everything you don't need, and they just hold on to what matters most. A light beer classic taste. The original since 1975, and you don't have to choose what's best. Miller Lite has great taste and is less filling. Tastes like Miller time. To get Miller Lite delivered right to your door, visit MillerLite.com/PHLY birds, or you can find it pretty much anywhere that sells beer. Celebrate responsibly. Miller Brewing Company, Milwaukee, Wisconsin. 96 calories per 12 ounces. Fewer calories and carbs than premium regular beer.
All right, let's get a little taste of Jalen Hurts and see what he has to say. Obviously not answering the defense, but let's hear what he says.
Nick
the
said
trust
something,
that I have in
Bo.
everybody else to step
Right
up.
up my ass.
And I think we had, guys step up in a big way. Covey made some great plays out there. Schmitty made plays. We just didn't meet the moment in terms of, it wasn't for us tonight. It wasn't for us.
What message did you deliver to the players?
Keep pressing forward. Keep your head up. At the end of the day,
Oh, boy.
we have to
Jalen cliches after a loss. I'm telling you, I don't know if I can deal with
intensely
it.
control the controllables. And I think when I look at this game, there are a lot of things that we could have controlled fundamentally in our details, the little things that we just didn't take advantage of. And so this is an opportunity for us to learn from it. I think we've taken big steps in terms of coming together as a unit, and we need to continue on that journey and learn from this. And I think it's a great test for us.
On the 3rd and 3 play, it was open, so he threw it. But what's the coaching point if it's not open? Obviously, you're not running out of bounds or anything like that. But are you
I don't want to. I don't want to add any extra wood to it. It's we just didn't make the play in that moment, and I trust him in every moment. He's a hell of a player. He gave us a big spark in those moments, and it just wasn't. It just wasn't for us tonight.
Jalen made a shirt out of my
It
grandpa.
sounds like you rep heavily in practice.
Good comment.
You mentioned the red zone efficiency as a whole. You thought that wasn't up to par. What did you see from that perspective?
I thought we were pretty aggressive in the red zone coming out the gate early. I think there were some opportunities for sure to score in the red zone, and we didn't. It's much respect to that team we just played and that defense. They got 2 great safeties, a great defensive back group, and they were disruptive up front. And when they had the opportunity to score in the end, they did. And much respect to them.
Before the 3rd and 3 play, you guys went heavy on the left side and had to call a timeout. Was there a play call in there? Was that going to be a run play?
That's just a simple, operational thing of making sure we got the right guys on the field and executing. I think in those moments, that was a big time drive. Drive you think could close it out, but we came up short.
This is your best game running in a while. Was there anything different, or you just they just needed that, and that's what happened?
Some things turn on when they need to, and it turned on, but it clearly wasn't enough to get the win.
Adversity was, bound to hit at some point this season. How much time did you spend in the offseason kind of thinking about that and how to handle it now that it's here? What's the key?
There's no secret to it. There's no secret ingredient to it. It's just a matter of, am I going to learn from it and am I going to get better from it? I said this before and I'll say it again. There's no difference between, the joys and the pains, the wins and the losses. It's just a matter of if you learn from it. And I think that's the perspective that I have on this. good, bad, or indifferent, we're going to learn from it. And our goal out there is to go out there and play dominant football and win football games and do enough to win the game, but ultimately better ourselves in growth and learning from these moments. And so, in the end, winning is the only thing that matters, and to win, you have to continue to learn. You have to continue to grow, and I think this team will continue to do that.
We'll take two more. Jalen, you mentioned obviously, AJ's a great receiver, and you don't want to make excuses or anything, but just logistically, when it kind of happens late in the week, after you guys have been practicing, how do you deal with that? What are the logistics to kind of developing a new game plan when you're not in it?
I think that's a Kellen question, and I trust him with everything as we continue to build this and find our rhythm and build our rapport with one another. But in the end, guys had an opportunity to step up, and I think guys did that. We got to be better. I got to be better. But I feel like we went out there and played really hard. We just didn't take advantage of some opportunities.
You seem to trust Britton a lot. Would you agree with that? And where did that kind of build?
Excuse my voice.
Yeah.
It's just a lot of time on task with working with him, and conversations and reps, his approach, his intentionality in what he does. And he showed up for us, and we'll need him to continue to do that. And I think the most important thing is everybody is focused on doing their jobs to help the team win. And as I said before, to do that, you just have to learn from everything. You have to learn from your mistakes. And we'll be better from it.
Thanks, Joe.
Thanks, Shelley.
I don't know if you guys caught that, but Jalen Hurts giving a little homage there to Frankie Beverly, his favorite singer who passed away this week. The joys and the pains of a loss like this, of playing this game. I was thinking about the joys and pains of Nick Foles has his retirement ceremony tonight, right? Retires as an Eagle, very nice little thing. The joy of getting to celebrate that, the pain of not getting able to play in the league anymore. This game, obviously, is going to be lasting as a pain source for Eagles fans, right? I think Jalen played a pretty good game tonight. When he was running around, he didn't have a ton to throw to, but his legs looked good. I don't really put that game-ending interception on him. he's trying to make a play, right? But Vinny, I guess for you, as you watch Jalen there, do you feel like he has the, and with Kelce on the broadcast tonight, it's sort of the same thing as Foles, but if he was sort of the emotional leader, do you feel like Jalen is the kind of guy who can sort of carry this team forward from a loss like this?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And that's why he's the leader of that locker room, leader of the team. The guys, they'll rally from this. But for tonight's sake, I think we all just pissed, bro, how that ended. And you can hear it in his voice. He sounded like he was yelling. He probably lost it in the locker room.
I was thinking, I was like, who is he yelling at?
Yeah. And it's like you said it. When you look at his stat sheet, he played a damn near a pretty awesome game himself. But dude, we just gotta play as a team. We just had to play as a team, but we didn't play as a team. We didn't execute when it was time to execute.
Yeah, Fran would know better than me, but it feels like it's really hard to win in the NFL when you don't get chunk plays. Yeah. That is huge. And I think according to your notes, at least in the fourth quarter, the biggest play was 19 yards tonight.
Yeah, something like that.
Jalen did play well, but they didn't have. Maybe it could just be all the AJ Brown effect, but they did not have chunk yardage plays tonight. Everything was, laborious, and you really had to work for your points tonight.
Yeah, and to me, there were a handful of those plays where Jalen did scramble and made something out of nothing, where he was looking downfield. So I'm excited to go back to the film and see what were they trying to do. Were they trying to take a vertical shot play and it wasn't available to him, and so he decided, okay, hey, I'm going to try and create something with my legs here. I do think Jalen overall played a good game. He finished 23 of 30, 183 yards, a touchdown, and then the final pick. I agree, Bo. I would not put that on him.
85 on the ground, too.
Yeah, another 85 on the ground, and look good doing it on the ground, too. I mean, they had some design runs. They had the scrambles. You certainly had some of the option plays in there, too. So a little bit of everything that we had seen from Jalen Hurts on the ground, making plays with his legs. And I thought, again, against the blitz, he looked really, really good. We're still waiting on some of these numbers to come out, but a number of times in my notes as we were watching the game, hot route against the blitz. The ball came out fast, knowing where to go. It's 3rd and 8. They get a completion right at the sticks for 3rd and 7 to Devontae Smith. Dallas Goedert, same thing. So you saw time and time again of him understanding where his answers were in the offense. To me, it's disappointing that the game ended the way it did, because I think overall you look at it like Jalen played well. Saquon drop aside, played well. Offensive line overall seemed like they played well, but also at the end of the day, it's the final drive. They had 10 points on the board, and we're sitting there late in the 4th quarter.
Yeah.
And again, the broadcast was kind of salting the victory away. And I don't feel good. Watching what I'm watching right now.
Witness. He's telling the truth.
Yeah, it was a very, very strange game that we'll see what the film says tomorrow, but it was a very strange game to watch live.
And when Coach was talking, you guys heard him say, you have to earn the right to rush.
Yep.
Meaning, got to stop the damn run.
Yep.
Got to stop the run.
Well, Vinny, this is going to be...
It goes together.
This is going to be painful to your ears, okay? Through 2 games, the Eagles are allowing 6.4 yards per rush, 32nd in the NFL. Dead last.
Ooh. With Jordan Davis and Jalen Carter in the middle.
6.4 yards per carry.
So then now when you say that to yourself, we got to stop the run first. And he's saying it in the nice version.
Yes.
Earn the way to run.
Yeah.
What's he saying in the locker room version?
Man.
I mean, they are. So the Eagles are they're playing much worse on defense than the points would tell you, because they're 5th in red zone defense and 3rd in 3rd down defense. If they weren't so good situationally on a per play basis, they are one of the worst defenses in the NFL so far. 27th in sack rate and dead last in run.
Yeah, I mean, that final drive, if you can't get to the quarterback, something's wrong, right? Vinny, what are you seeing from the defense there? I mean, they're just dropping into prevent, trying to keep everything in front of them.
Yeah, it goes back to sense of urgency. Get the game over with, Who gonna be that dog, Who wants to be that dog? It's just at the end of the day, a sack on that drive kills that whole drive.
Yeah,
it's over.
Momentum, the crowd is going crazy.
Didn't feel like they got
Monday
close.
night football in Philadelphia at the Link home.
Oh
my God!
And we haven't even really given proper credit to just how easy that drive was to go 70 yards in 6 plays.
That was one of the worst drives I've ever seen.
Super easy. 11 yards to Kyle Pitts, 21 yards to Darnell Mooney, 26 yards to Darnell Mooney, 5 yards to Drake London, then the incomplete pass on the Avonte Maddox breakup, and then the touchdown to Drake London for 7 yards. And when
does Vic talk this week? Wednesday?
Yeah.
Because it's a day later.
Tomorrow. Yep.
Yeah. They might do Thursday. Sometimes they do Thursday on a short week. But he will have a lot to answer for. Who do you feel good about on that defensive line right now? I mean, you played with Bryce Huff. You were there at the beginning of his career. Sort of helped him come along as a young player. What we have seen, it's only been 2 games, but through 2 games so far, it has been underwhelming. Do you believe in Bryce Huff long term?
It's a short week, Bryce. Gotta get on. You gotta. They like I said, they just gotta. They gotta show us something, But we're sticking out to everybody, and this is what we were talking about. What's sticking out to everybody is they're not playing together, so you're not seeing it really stick out. And when the flashes you are seeing, you're seeing 55 glimpse. You're seeing Milton glimpse.
Yep.
Now it's time for everybody else to take their place and get the torch is there for somebody to grab. Grab it.
And the torch
is there for somebody to grab.
We talked with you about this last week about how you were so good at doing the dirty work, right? Setting other guys up, right? That was sort of your MO. I don't know who's doing that for them right now.
It's crazy, man.
And I think it's fair to be disappointed in Jalen Carter's performance through 2 games. My expectations for him after the summer,
he has to be the best player.
He was going to be a dominant player
and
the best player on this defense. He was, I think, like semi-benched at the beginning of this game, did not play on
He
the
didn't play
first
the first series.
and then didn't open the third series and then came in on third down. We'll have to ask Vic Fangio about that as well. So there's something going on there, but he has not been as ferocious and impactful as I was expecting.
Yeah, a little disappointing certainly for Jalen Carter. I am excited to go back through because that's the thing is we talked about this a week ago with Green Bay was, you know what, the playing surface, the cleats, like all that stuff. Let's throw that game out. Let's see what it looks like against Atlanta. And maybe there's difficult conversations on Tuesday. Well, those difficult conversations are going to be had tomorrow morning. And really quickly, going back to Bryce Huff. And stats, box scores with defensive linemen don't always tell the story, obviously.
Vinny can tell you all about that.
Huge grain of salt. But for a team ran the ball 28 times tonight. Bryce Huff, I went to go just look at the box score. Does not appear on the box score. Zero, not an assisted tackle, nothing, zero.
I did think he had a half tackle on the Josh Sweat play for like
I don't think he got credit. I don't know if he got credit for it.
Yeah, that was the only time he was around the ball.
Yeah, before we get to Zach real quick, Jalen Carter and Nolan Smith, this team counted on Nolan Smith to be the step-up guy. You know, the youngster you believe in, high first-round draft pick. Like, there's a job there to be won, more or less. They need him, and they needed Jalen Carter to just straight up be the best player on this defense. And you haven't seen it through 2 games. Hopefully it's coming.
No, it's coming. He showed glimpse. He showed the glimpse that he had a one-on-one pass rush. He super
he destroyed
dominated
that. Yeah.
You know, but you know, like I said, they'll definitely get clicking, but you just got to get clicking fast.
We have Zach Berman ready to go. Unfortunately, I'm gonna go to the ad reads again. I know that he doesn't like when I do this when he's waiting, but we got to get to him. So we're gonna talk. We're gonna talk quickly about our friends at Indeed.
That's Julia.
If you need to hire, you need Indeed. Indeed is your matching and hiring platform with over 350 million global monthly visitors, according to Indeed data, and a matching engine that helps you find quality candidates fast. Ditch the busy work. Use Indeed for scheduling, screening, and messaging, so you can connect with candidates faster. Leveraging over 140 million qualifications and preferences every day, Indeed's matching engine is constantly learning from your preferences, so the more you use Indeed, the better it gets. Join more than 3.5 million businesses worldwide that use Indeed to hire great talent fast, and listeners of this show will get a $75 sponsored job credit to get your jobs more visibility at Indeed.com/AllCity. Just go to Indeed.com/AllCity right now and support our show by saying you heard about Indeed on this podcast. Indeed.com/AllCity. Terms and conditions apply. Need to hire? You need Indeed.
Well, the Zach Bermans of the world can certainly take care of all the handyman work at their own home. But if you're somebody like me, a little scared by, piping, plumbing, electricity, some of those things, well, I love Ace Hardware stores. So why wouldn't I want the helpful people at Ace Hardware to come to my home and fix the things I don't feel like fixing? Got an air conditioning issue? They got a person for that. Got a leaky pipe? They got a person for that. From plumbing to heating and cooling, they've got trusted pros to keep your home humming all year long. Ace Hardware Home Services, we're bringing helpful home. The helpful you love from the store you love right to your front door. So visit Ace Hardware Home Services online at acehardwarehomeservices.com to get started on your next project.
All right. Our Eagles insider, Zach Berman there. I'm sure he's coming back from the locker room. We know that he spoke to Nick Sirianni. Zach, first of all, you look good. Great backdrop. What was the mood of the locker room after as shocking a late game loss as we can remember?
Yeah, they were dejected, as you would imagine. I mean, it was a pissed off locker room. But I think it was a locker room that, for the most part, accepted responsibility across the board, whether it was Saquon, whether it was the defense. They recognized that they didn't make enough plays in this game. There's a lot of different places you can point to. Being here in the stadium, it was startling. There haven't been many games like this in my 13 years covering the team where it just goes completely silent, right? I mean, I think on the sideline, they thought they had the game won after CJ makes that big 4th down stop. And so the place just went completely silent when the Falcons went down the field. They were startled. The team seemed startled, but the locker room after the game, it was a quick, to give you some color, Bo, it was a quick changing locker room, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, actually, Vinny knows what this is like. Jalen Hurts was like dressed and ready to leave before Nick Sirianni even went to the podium, right? And so like they had to hold Jalen back. Jalen's like, and when I say hold him back, like he's ready to go, get his press conference over with, and get out of there. And this is a stark contrast from what you see often when players are lingering around or discussing what happened. This was a quick exiting locker room. When I got back from Sirianni, the only people who were there really, I chatted with C.J. Gardner-Johnson, Nakobe Dean, Brandon Graham, but it was like there was no one lingering around. This was a team that wanted to get out of here as quickly as possible tonight.
Zach, I don't know that Nick Sirianni got enough questions about his decision at the end of this game, because to me, there's a lot of blame to go around. Certainly the defense not stopping the run and their performance on that final touchdown drive. Saquon Barkley has to catch the ball. But Nick Sirianni's decision, specifically to kick the field goal, to go up 6 points and invite a touchdown to lose and a 4-down drive for the Falcons, instead of going for it on 4th down when you could have pinned the Falcons deeper and they would have been willing to settle for a field goal. That is day one coaching stuff in the NFL these days. And if his job is to be worried about making the right decisions on game day, he failed in this game.
Bo, I have some data to back you up here. According to Next Gen Stats, the Eagles' chances to win the game dropped from 94% to 85%, according to their model, with that field goal.
So what did he say about it? We heard from him, but we missed the very beginning of the press conference, so we may have not gotten that.
Yeah, he was asked specifically about that decision, and he said he wanted to go up 6, and that they looked at it. The Falcons had no timeouts. They felt going up 6 was the way to go there. There were a number of decisions, like you said, that we can second guess. I asked Nick specifically, the result of the plays aside, were there decisions tonight that you would have done over in hindsight? And he said you always look back at that. He went back to the 4th down, in the first half,
and I hate
when he didn't take points. So this is interesting. I agree with you, Bo, and I agree in real time. I thought end the game here. Don't give them the chance to get the ball back. Speaking to other reporters, they thought I was crazy for they're like, why would you not kick the field goal? They were surprised by this. I thought, I don't want to say it was obvious, but I thought the decision to win the game, you make that decision to win the game. There were a lot of people who I was speaking to, and when I say this, other reporters who were harping on the decision to pass. And I actually didn't object to the pass. That was a high percentage play, I thought, and there was a mechanism built into it where if Saquon's covered, Jalen could just take the sack, right? And let the clock tick. I didn't have an issue with that, and there were questions about that call. But I thought so Nick was specifically asked about that decision to kick the field goal, and he said he wanted to go up 6 with the Falcons having no timeouts. That was their approach there. Now you saw in real time what happened. The timeouts didn't matter. Actually, the Falcons probably scored too quickly for their liking. But I agree with you. But like I always, I've said to you on air, off air, we can only control the questions. We can't control the answers, right? So
Sure.
like Nick got the question. That was his rationale. We can debate the rationale. But that's the way he went.
Yeah, I mean, we're talking about 70 yards to go with 4 downs at your disposal versus 55, 60 yards to go with 3 or 4 downs at your disposal and willing to settle for a field goal versus also the upside of just ending the game with the 1st down. It's really a no-brainer.
Exactly.
As for the defense, we've been talking about it, Zach. The Eagles are dead last in the league in yards per rush allowed. The defensive line seems to be getting dominated through 2 games. What do you make of that, what you've seen in person, and also what the reaction was in the locker room?
Yeah, you heard Nick say that you have to earn the right to rush the quarterback.
That's all Vinny.
I thought they had the chance to rush the quarterback on that final drive, right? I mean, the Falcons weren't running the ball. The problem here is that they're not good enough at rushing the quarterback right now, and I think that was apparent throughout the game. Milton Williams had a nice sack, but otherwise, your edge rushers are not getting pressure on the quarterback. In the locker room after the game, you heard about the zone they were in. That Atlanta was finding soft spots in the zone. That's something that came up. But I think you need your pass rushers to make a difference there. And if you often hear, he's getting rid of the ball quickly, and it may be so. But look, I'll defer to Vinny on all pass rushing questions. That situation is designed for your guy to beat their guy, just like T.J. Watt beat Caleb McGarry last week, right? I mean, it's designed for your pass rusher, your $17 million a year pass rusher to beat their offensive tackle, and that didn't happen tonight.
Zach, do you know the answer to this question? We've been trying to dig it up. Fran's been digging it up. According to Google AI, the Eagles did have the option here, and I feel ridiculous even saying that, to defer the penalty from Drake London.
I just want to say for the record, this is an anti-AI podcast.
Yes, AI weirds me out, but it's the only answer we found so far. Are they able to apply that Drake London penalty to the next kickoff rather than taking it right there on the spot? And if so, is that a worse decision than kicking the field goal there at fourth down?
That's a really good question. I'm ashamed to admit that I did not think about that in real time. I was like collecting like what the hell just happened on this drive, and I did not think about applying it to the kickoff. I would much rather apply to the kickoff for sure.
Yeah, because then that first play, you're in Jake Elliott's range basically right away.
I haven't seen anything official on it, but from what I had gathered via Twitter is that the NFL changed the rule this offseason that it automatically applies to the extra point, that you cannot apply it
Roger
to the kickoff.
So,
See, you can't trust AI.
Yeah, I mean, I'll say, like, I'll say not to puff like the Eagles up here, but they have people in the booth who are pretty sharp with the rules, like John Ferrari.
Yes.
Yeah, he used to work in the league office, and they're pretty up to date on all those rules. Now, there's a lot that happens in real time in terms of getting the message down to the coach and whatnot, but it would surprise me if there was a rule that they were unfamiliar with.
Fran, I mean, Zach, I want to ask Fran this when he watches the film tomorrow, but Jahan Dotson, you trade a third-round pick for the guy.
Yeah.
It's only been 2 games, and it obviously takes some time to ingratiate him into the offense. But in a game in which you don't have A.J. Brown, he felt completely absent once again. I think he had one catch.
1 catch, 6 yards.
Catch for 6 yards.
Yeah.
What's up with that?
Yeah, I mean, first off, on the telecast tonight, as I'm sure the viewers heard, Lisa Salter said that she spoke to A.J. Brown before the game. AJ said that he's going to miss a few weeks. I asked Nick Sirianni if that's how he's operating. Nick wouldn't answer the question there. But I bring that up because this is something the Eagles are going to have to deal with. It surprised me the way this offense functioned. And at one point late in the fourth or in the middle of the fourth quarter, Britton Covey had more targets than Dallas Goedert, Jahan Dotson, and Saquon Barkley combined. Now, Saquon Barkley had a target on late in the game, of course, and then Dallas Goedert had a catch on that penultimate drive. But I like Britton Covey. I think Britton Covey would tell you that should not be the case. So yeah, I mean, Jahan Dotson he's in his fourth week here or third week here in Philly. He's here to have a role in this situation, whether it's a matter of Jalen not having that chemistry with him or how it goes in the progression. They needed more from Dotson tonight. Frankly, they needed more from Dallas Goedert tonight. I thought that they weren't getting enough through the air from those weapons, and it was a little too much Britton Covey and Grant Calcaterra.
Any other color from the locker room worth passing along?
I was not in on Jalen. I don't know if you played Jalen on the show, but from talking to guys in the locker room, the coaching staff actually did not address the team after the game. Jalen Hurts did all the talking after the game. Jalen's the one who spoke to the team. As it was described to me, or as it was described by one of the players, it's a player-led team, and that was why they took the approach that they did.
Huh.
C.J. Gardner-Johnson said that in colorful language that they have to, pick their effing heads up here, and they got a lot of football left. That was kind of the approach that he was taking. But yeah, I mean, I would say that I found it interesting that Jalen said or that the other player said Jalen did all the talking after the game.
That explains the voice a little bit.
Yeah, Zach. So we did play most of Jalen's press conference, and his voice was a little bit hoarse, as if he had been,
Okay.
yelling.
Something.
Yeah.
I
mean, I think
that's very interesting.
Yeah, I thought, like I said at the top of our conversation here, it was telling to me how quickly Jalen was dressed and ready to get out of there.
Yep.
And that might be like inside baseball for
it's very atypical. Yes.
Yeah, because Jalen is, as our viewers know from watching these post-game shows last year, how often I was late coming up because I was waiting for Jalen. I think I made a joke that my third book will be titled "Waiting for Jalen." Yeah. There was no waiting for Jalen tonight. Actually, Jalen was the one doing the waiting, and so I think that spoke volumes there. And overall, I need to go back and listen to the Darius Slay audio. Slay was talking when Sirianni was going, and I wanted to be in on Nick. But I saw Slay said on social media that this is on him. I was in on Saquon Barkley tonight. Saquon Barkley, said he didn't come through for the team. That was his sentiment, and that it was a play that he needs to make, and I agree with that. Like Saquon can't drop that pass, but speaking to a few of the defensive backs, the thing you kept hearing was, the soft spots in the zone. The thing is this, it was 58 and a half minutes, right? And then you saw what happened in the last minute and a half. I asked Reed Blankenship, like, was it, and this goes to the decision to kick the field goal. Was it like hard to regroup there and go out on the field? And I'll defer to Vinny on this one here. I got to imagine, like, you're a defensive player. You think you won the game with that stop. You think the offense is just going to wear is going to wear this clock out. You're not really ready to go. You have to emotionally regroup to go back out on the field there to have a critical drive. So I was really surprised when Sirianni kicked the field goal for that reason too. Like why even expose your defense to that? The pass rush hadn't been getting home all day, and Kirk Cousins, for as much as Bo has fun with the Melvin line, that's the first time I've ever said Melvin before. For him, he can flat out make plays. Like we've seen him make plays. I mean, I don't mean to bring this up to Vinny, but I remember some of those Eagles Washington games in like 2015 when Kirk Cousins was money. Late in the season.
7-5 career versus the Eagles, Zach.
Yeah, so I bring that up as a way of saying, like, look, I know people will say this is why I'm not the head coach, and I get that, but I try to win the game there, and I say you have 3 yards to win the game. Like go win the game. The same logic that you have on the third down, the same confidence you have on third down, have that confidence on fourth down. That's the approach I would take.
And if you don't get it, you still have a chance to win the game. It's not, that's a no-brainer. On the Kirk Cousins stat, this week on the show, I called him the barometer. If you looked at the times the Eagles have beaten him, the 3 times they beat him by double-digit points, they go to the Super Bowl that season. The 6 times, now 7 times that they have lost, they've never won more than 9 games in the season. So Kirk Cousins, sort of the bellwether.
That was a groan.
Not good. Now, Zach, before we let you go, we know you're going to go get to writing for allphly.com, but you did mention there, the third book might be waiting for Jalen. We are now, the clock has struck midnight on Tuesday. We are a week away, Zach, from the release of your second book. So with the big post-game show audience, I want to give you a chance to plug that bad boy.
I appreciate that, Bo. Coming out on Tuesday the 24th is The Franchise, the Philadelphia Eagles, a curated history of the Birds. It looks at the last 25 years. You'll relive a lot of moments that weren't like tonight. You'll relive
There
some
were
of
some
the
moments that were like tonight, though.
yeah, you'll relive some of the more exciting moments, and it's kind of the you'll learn about some of the decisions, the iconic players. I spoke to Fletcher Cox before the game tonight. Fletcher is featured in this book. Nick Foles, I spoke to before the game. Nick Foles is featured in this book. I saw Jason Kelce as I was walking back up here. Jason Kelce's featured in this book. All the quarterbacks from the past 25 years, and it's a collection of some new reporting, a lot of the reporting from my 13 years on the beat, and research that I've done or that I did last summer in writing this book. So looking forward to that. Appreciate that.
Go ahead.
Yeah. No, I was going to circle back to one last point I want to make about the game, but I'll answer your question real quick.
I wanted to know what Fletcher's advice was for Vinny that you shared on social media.
Yeah, Vinny, I'm going to read this verbatim here, okay? Because I said Fletcher Fletcher was the original. Now he wasn't on the postgame show, but he was our co-host last year, and he said, I'm pulling this up here. He said, "Speak from your heart, speak the truth. You're a retired player now. You're on the outside looking in, but give the people what they want, and that's the truth." So that's from him.
That's all he does.
He's
That's
a
right.
truth teller,
Yeah.
What was the thing you wanted to close on?
Yeah, it just like how devastating this loss is for the team in this sense is now they're getting home tonight, at what, 12:30, 1 o'clock. Tomorrow's a recovery day. They're back Wednesday. My guess is they'll have a walkthrough Wednesday. It won't be a full practice, so it's a short week. You're not at home. You're on the road in New Orleans, a team that is hot, that plays, that has this home field advantage. The Eagles could have been 2-0, sitting in real good position. Now you're 1-1 with 2 road games ahead of you. New Orleans, then Miami. I'm sorry, New Orleans, then Tampa Bay.
Two hottest teams in the NFL, Zach.
Yeah, you'll look back. I think that the Eagles could look back at this game at the end of the season, and I don't want to say it's hyperbole to say this is an inflection point, but this is I don't think I'm overstating just how devastating this loss was, considering where it fell in the schedule.
I think that's well said, Zach. We look forward to what you're going to write about it on allphly.com, and we will talk to you on the PHLY Eagles show tomorrow at 2 o'clock.
Appreciate it. And the connection was strong, right?
Connection was strong. You did a good
Don't
job.
let him suck you dry, Zach. He's stalling, trying to wait for your connection to drop.
Zach, we lost it. Zach, we lost it.
I was waiting. Why do you think I haven't asked one question the entire night?
I give all the credit to Julia. All right, guys. Thank you.
Thank you, Zach. All right, you know what? Let's have like a 5-minute respite of good, positive thoughts, and then we can get back to complaining at the end. Vinny, I do want to ask you. Zach mentioned that Nick Foles had his retirement press conference night. I wonder what your favorite Nick Foles story is.
Oh man, I got one. I'm not sure what year this was. Maybe 13 or 14.
Early in his career.
Yeah. We was doing like a OTA. I don't know if it was a OTA or the
mini camp.
Yeah, a mini camp. And everybody was like, "Yo, we're gonna go shoot around." I said, "Well, sure, I can't play no basketball. I'm just gonna watch." You know what I mean? Like, bro, this man came out there. I swear, he was dunking.
He was like Prince.
It was crazy. I was like, what? Yeah, he was like, "Yo, bro, this is what I do, bro." Like, so smooth, bro. It was like, it was crazy. It was crazy. I was like, dang.
He was a very good high school basketball player, recruited to play college basketball.
Yeah, he was a beast, bro. Yeah, it was a beast. Nick Foles is a monster on that basketball court. But I guess, you was just getting out of practice or got finished running or whatever. And it was like, it was just so spare in the moment that you kind of forget that this dude really played basketball. He was cooking cats. And then you had me there like, ooh, he's cooking you. It was crazy. It was crazy.
And then how about the Super Bowl itself? What was your vantage point of the Philly special?
Bro, that was crazy. And then he called it himself. And then, if you watch Super Bowl, you'll see some of the defensive players, we got up to go watch it. Like, yo, this is going to work.
You knew it was coming.
Yeah.
Oh.
It was crazy, bro. And when it worked, it was like, oh, they did it. You know, because they've been practicing that. So that was cool to see.
All right. It's a nice little positive vibe.
Sure.
Who was good for you tonight, Fran? Who would you like to give a shout out to?
I mean, I thought Jalen Hurts was good tonight. I thought Saquon Barkley was good tonight. I thought Thomas Booker was good.
Thomas Booker.
One guy on the defensive line to get excited about. Thomas Booker.
The official Bubble Camp Crush. Thomas Booker.
Yeah, outside of that, that's probably those.
Very
probably
nice play by
highlights.
C.J. Gardner-Johnson, we should say. That could have been the game-winning fourth down stop.
Yeah, he did. That was
a really nice play.
Yep.
We may have taken his helmet off and probably deserved a
pretty
penalty,
close.
but that would have been post-play anyway.
Yeah.
Would have been all right. That was very good. He did miss a couple other tackles, but that was a huge play.
One on the touchdown, yep.
Yeah, I mean, that's close to about it.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of feel awful for Saquon because at the end of the day, if he catches that ball, which he does, probably nearly at 100% rate, that open, it's game over. And none of these conversations had.
We're talking about, again, a flawed team that found a way to win, and they're in good position at 2-0.
And wow, you know, what a play call it was there by Sirianni on 3rd and 3 with the game on the line. I feel bad for him because he was the best player on the field tonight, it felt like.
I got to say, from watching that game in person, it felt so different watching him. Like, I didn't appreciate it as much as I did on TV. He has more juice. He looks more electric than any running back I can remember, at least since LaShawn McCoy. And it wasn't like that when he was on the Giants and I watched him play in person. It has been sort of
quick.
like the theory behind if you get him in this offense, how good he could look.
He got those 5 bodyguards in front of him.
Yeah, and I thought Mekhi Becton, you know, in the run game tonight was just, he was moving people. Him and Lane, I mean, both sides of the ball. And Cam Jurgens was getting out and showing some athleticism tonight. I mean, just run the ball. I'm like you. I'm not going to be down at the NovaCare tomorrow, roll the blunt. But, damn. So the one answer I want to say real quick about Nick Sirianni that kind of drove me a little nuts there.
Oh, yes.
Was it Jimmy Johnson or some old school concussion uncle used to say, I don't care if they have the damn playbook. Sometimes you just got to run the ball down their throat.
Yeah.
And his whole spiel about, sometimes on 3rd and 3, you got to run it. Sometimes you got to throw it. Sometimes you got to do this. No, sometimes you just got to jam it down their throat and end the game. And, I didn't hate the decision for the pass play, but, that answer really kind of chapped my ass. No, sometimes you just run it right out.
I don't even like him saying that he maybe regretted the early 4th down go because they missed it. This is the whole thing we've been talking about.
Yep.
You gotta commit to it because that's when it works, is when it plays out over the long haul. And to be so results based in his looking back thinking is, I would imagine Jeffrey Lurie is listening to those answers and looking at the way he coached this game, and he is really, really upset knowing the things that he cares
You think
about.
Belichick texted Jeffrey tonight?
He was there tonight.
He was there.
Patricia,
I know, he was right across the street.
You can't date the
curse.
analytics. Got to marry the
Gotta marry him.
analytics.
Coach Flynn.
Next Gen just shared a few nuggets.
Okay.
I'm not going to like any of this.
I'll start with positive. All right.
We were positive for 4 minutes before we got negative
Saquon Barkley.
again.
We'll keep the positive train
I have
rolling.
one other bit of levity. But go
All
ahead.
right. So Saquon Barkley dropped what would have been a game-clinching pass from Jalen Hurts on 3rd down, but Barkley forced 10 missed tackles on 26 touches in his second game with the Eagles, finishing with over 100 scrimmage yards. For the second time as many games. His 9 missed tackles forced are the most of any ball carrier in week 2. Barkley took advantage when the Falcons showed a light box at the snap. That's 6 or fewer defenders in the box. 77 yards on 13 carries. Now, this is interesting considering that 3rd down play call. Only 18 yards on 9 carries when there was a loaded box. So they didn't do as well when Atlanta was able to stuff the box there from a defensive standpoint. Also, Jalen Hurts, despite holding on to the ball for an average of 3.42 seconds, I think a lot of that's thrown off by a lot of the scrambles, but 3.42 seconds, Hurts was pressured on just 6 of his 35 dropbacks, the second lowest pressure rate he has faced in a game in his entire career.
Wow.
Hurts did not throw a single deep pass over 20 air yards until the final interception of the game, but did finish 7 for 8 for 102 yards and a touchdown, targeting the intermediate area of the field, so 10 to 19. So it was a lot of those intermediate chunk plays. I'm interested to go back and see on the film, did Atlanta do something to kind of set a ceiling on the offense, on the pass game, to try and take away a lot of those deep balls. He also gained 85 rushing yards on 13 carries, 9 successful runs, and 4 runs of 10-plus yards. So certainly one of his best days on the ground. I don't know if you guys want me to go through the defensive stuff because there's some bad defensive plays in there too. But
let's finish the lighter part and then we'll get to the defense. defense. And
go ahead.
negative. This is the last bit of levity. I think you're going to like this one. Jamie, you mentioned Mekhi Becton. This is courtesy of our friend Tim Harris, Fran, our old friend
Timbo
from
Slice.
the Eagles. Look at this graphic that ESPN had
Is that a back butt?
of Mekhi Becton in their animation. He's got no butt where his butt is, but then he's got a butt on his back.
That's a back butt. What the hell?
What is that?
Come on, ESPN.
What is that? Mekhi Becton's got to be madder about that than he is the result of this game. Look at that picture.
The offensive line was great today.
What is that? What kind of body is that? That's what AI gives you.
That's right.
All right. Okay, give us those disheartening defensive stats.
Somehow I'll get from that to this. All right, let's go to the final drive. Kirk Cousins led the Falcons on a 6-play, 70-yard game-winning touchdown drive in the final minute of the game to beat the Eagles 22-21 on the road. Cousins was 5 of 6 for 70 yards and a touchdown on that final drive, completing plus 26.2% of his passes over expected compared to minus 4.3 entering the drive. So basically, really, I think a lot of that is those two big ones to Darnell Mooney down the field. Those are not high probability completions there. On the night, Cousins did not complete a single pass from outside the tackle box, 0 for 1. But, and that's the thing about the pass rush, like he was confined in that tight space. You still couldn't get to him. But he moved around more in the pocket than in week 1, averaging 5 yards per dropback against the Eagles compared to just 3.1 per dropback against the Steelers. Lastly, so some Bijan Robinson numbers. I was shocked that he only had 14 carries on the night, by the way, Bijan. It felt like a lot more
7 yards
than
a
that.
carry.
Unbelievable. Bijan Robinson had a strong day on the ground. I could say that again. With 14 carries for 97 yards. His 6.9 yards per carry is the second highest mark of his career. Robinson also added 4 catches for 25 yards, forcing 6 missed tackles on 18 total touches on the night. After taking almost every carry from the pistol formation in week 1, and then we're just getting into usage stuff there from the formational stuff with Atlanta. So, Bijan Robinson looked really good. Kirk Cousins operated really highly on that final drive and did not move from the pocket the entire night and was still barely touched.
Vinny, where does Kirk Cousins rank in like your least favorite quarterbacks to play against?
He's up there. He's up there.
I did go through your sacks today to see if there was one we could pull. No Kirk Cousins sacks for you, unfortunately.
Yeah, this is
too sneaky.
This is crazy.
Do you know which quarterback you sacked the most?
Do you?
Something tells me Bo knows.
All right, good.
I have it here somewhere.
You said Kirk Cousins was what? 7? You said 7 and 6?
7 and 5 versus
7
the
and
Eagles.
5 now against the Eagles.
Is Eli? Eli's got to
I'm
be up
just
there
saying,
for you.
they had
It's Eli.
we went from
It's Eli?
It's Eli.
They had RG3. They had Dwayne Haskins. He had a little rotation in there.
Yep.
Yeah, you
Eli
just got
is
to
your
play
guy.
the
6 sacks against Eli.
6 sacks against
probability. You
Eli. There
probably
go.
played him the most of anyone, so that's why I went with him.
Good stuff.
You want probability, Bo? The Falcons had just a 0.7% chance of winning the game with 1:56 left in the fourth quarter.
So that's the second down or the third down? I guess the third down, right before the third down. Yeah.
Yeah. Less than 1% chance to win the game, and that happened.
So, Vinny, you sometimes hear guys say that after a loss like this, it's kind of nice to have a short week. Do you think that's fair? Like, you got to get back to business quicker?
Yeah, no, they'll get back to business, man. And like I said, they'll get it together. I'm pretty sure the fans going to let them hear it. The coaches going to let them hear it.
So how much, all right, now you're retired, right? The players in the locker room, we don't listen to any of the outside noise. We don't listen to sports radio. We don't read the print. How much is it getting listened to? Or is it honestly like a blackout media zone?
Let me tell y'all something. Where we at?
Yeah, right there. Get this man on camera once.
This one right here.
Yeah.
That building tomorrow going to be quiet. The asshole's going to be tight. Every type of craziness going. I'm telling you, you never want to lose. Never, especially here. Like the expectation is so high, and I guarantee the coaches probably sleep in the office tonight, breaking down his film.
Mm-hmm. All right, but you got I don't know how long your commute to the NovaCare was. You're not tempted a little bit to throw on a podcast, a radio, or read some print about what people are saying?
Okay, did you see how they lost tonight in tonight's fashion?
Yeah.
Would you want to turn the radio on?
Probably if they were talking about me.
What? Yeah, that's cat. That's cat.
More than
That'll piss your day off. Your whole day will be thrown off from that. Can you believe they said this? You know what I mean? Yeah, right. Your day will be turned.
So who's listening? Somebody's listening because you guys are aware of what's being said, obviously, right? Is a coach translating? Like,
nah, you
is PR talking to you about?
PR. Yeah. You just ask PR. You're like, yo, what's the word on the street? If now now they just jump right on your Instagram or your Twitter. Like,
That's true.
Motherfucker. Like, damn. Block. You know what I mean? So,
Trying to live my life.
Yeah.
So what are you listening to?
What's your mind? Get your mind right. Like next morning.
Next morning, so if we was to lose like this, I'd be like, damn, what we didn't do, bro? You know, like, was there a game left out there? Like, I'm speaking from a defensive lineman standpoint. Was it a game left out there? The first thing I used to do is just call Fletch in the morning, and he'd be like, "What, man?" Man, don't want me, man. Like, yo, what you think? And he'll be grumpy for like the first 60 seconds of the phone call, but then we'll start diving into.
So what's a night like after a game
That's
like
good.
this?
I like that.
Like, how much do you instantly want to watch it? Are you just mentally replaying it, or are you checking out and going to bed? Can you go to bed?
No, you can't go to bed, but you just be up. That's why I said the first thing in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
I used to make that phone call then. Yeah.
So what time do you think you're getting to bed after a primetime game and a loss like that?
I don't know.
2, 3 in the morning?
I'm pissed. This game gave me a headache.
I don't know if I'm going to be able to go to sleep, so I couldn't imagine playing it.
You know, only because like the Birds, man, they deserve to win this game.
Yeah.
Like, they fought to win this game. You know, it's just like, damn. You know.
I gotta and if I'm a player, I know that this season is maybe like too much is being made of what is Nick Sirianni's role. But the Eagles lost this game because of Nick Sirianni tonight.
Yeah, but the player never ever.
I know the players would never say
that,
right? They wouldn't put that on him.
Yeah.
Everybody has to do their own individual better job.
Mm-hmm.
But to me, the objective truth of this game is why they lost this game. Is he bungled those decisions at the end of the game? We can talk about it all week. Go ahead.
Right, and then once again, you start saying, how many rushing yards did he have again? He had 97.
Yes.
What's the other one have?
Yeah, 50-something. Right?
You get what I'm saying? Like,
the worst run defense in football right now.
You get what I'm saying? Now, if they would have had like 30 yards rushing, 40, 50 yards rushing, I even give it a total of maybe 80 yards rushing. It's a different conversation.
Sure.
You know, but when you start looking at stuff like that, it's like, damn. You know, we really didn't give the offense a chance to even do as good as they did.
So you know Vic a little bit. Walk us through real quick. I don't want to keep us here all night, but like walk us through tomorrow morning. Like, what is that like when you enter the building? How intensive is the film breakdown?
So I never got to play for Vic.
But you knew him because he was hanging around as a consultant a little bit, all that. Like, what is the general vibe in the defensive film rooms or team meeting rooms tomorrow?
I mean, I'm pretty sure he's gonna shoot a couple people out. You know,
and is that embarrassed in front of the whole team?
No, it's not. No. He's not embarrassing.
Maybe not embarrassed,
but it's
but
like you want to be held accountable. You know, because at the end of the day, as much as we love the sport, this is our job. This is our livelihood as well. You know what I'm saying? So, got to freaking play like it. You know, you got to play with a sense of urgency. You know, people always be like, man, you play hard as hell. Like, it might be my last play. Yeah. Like, you know what I'm saying? So, you know, just this is it. I mean, and us, you know, just as Eagle fans and us now doing the media, all we want to do is just see sense of urgency and see people play hard.
So is run defense, I mean, are there schematic things that they can do, or is it, in your mind, does it sort of come down to like those guys up front have to man up?
You got to man up, man. You got it. You know, got to man up. That's it.
Yeah.
Now, and I would love to, when you break down the film tomorrow. I was just thinking about this. I don't know. I got back on this, but thinking about Jalen Carter. I wonder how many times he was doubled tonight.
Yeah, he was probably doubled a lot.
Because I think he was doubled tonight because I did see other people who had one-on-one rushes and they just didn't win.
Sure.
And when he finally got the one-on-one, it popped popped out right on the screen right away, and we was able to call it out. So I would love to see how many times he got doubled, because I feel like he was getting ready to make a huge impact in that game, and it was like, oh, no, big fella. You know?
And you did have an interesting idea pop into your head during this show.
During the press conference.
Is there a trade to be made for the Eagles with the guy that they just traded to the Jets? Are they so desperate that they decide to trade for and pay Hassan Reddick?
I mean, it's a sunk cost for them. The Jets got to be listening, right?
Yeah, I mean, like,
I don't know. Now, the Jets did just lose Jermaine Johnson, so they now have even more incentive to potentially
pay the man his money.
Reddick, but we'll see how that goes.
Bryce will get going.
You feel
hope so.
Yeah. Is this friend?
He better get going.
Vinny talking, or is this analyst Vinny talking?
Listen, at the end of the day, he better get going. He better get going. Listen, but you got to understand the job you signed up for, right? And then you came to a place where they eat, sleep, and bleed defensive linemen. So at the end of the day, that's the number one thing that's going to get magnified: defensive lineman play and quarterback play.
Final thoughts from you, Jamie?
I mean, that's about as deflating of a loss. I genuinely, my heart kind of breaks for Saquon a little bit.
Yeah.
Because, I mean...
Keep your head up, brother.
Yeah, that's going to be replaying in his head all week. He's going to be thinking about that every half hour, every minute of the day. To let your team down when you had the game like that, that's got to be just a devastating blow. Defensively, just what a collapse at the end there. It's brutal. And now you got to go to New Orleans. It's a tough place to play. And Derek Carr looks like a new man all of a sudden. And short week maybe is good, but man, that sucked.
Tough turf, right?
Yeah.
New Orleans?
Yeah. Hostile environment.
Yeah, where's that up there for you? Tough places to play.
It's definitely. I would say it's definitely top five. Yeah, I would say definitely top five.
It gets loud in there.
Yeah,
it does get loud. Yeah,
it's definitely top five. There's some tough places to play out there. Yeah.
Let's run through our super chats before we close out. We got a few of them, so thanks everybody for bringing those in. Idiot Sandwich says, Vinny, can you play? Softest DL we've had in a while. We've already been over that. Vinny's with us now. Daniel says, I'm so mad. Going to bed. We'll listen in the AM. Peckness migrate not based on Laurie, but who is the most responsible for this 5-win team? Nick, Hurts, Howie. I don't know how the Peckness migrate works there, but for me, this game specifically is this is a nest for Nick, and then maybe a peck for Howie and a migrate for Hurts, because I don't think that Jalen was at fault for this one. Chris says Falcons ran stretch runs over and over again at Huff. Could be something to watch moving forward. You noticed that as well, right, Fran?
Yeah, that's it. They ran a ton of zone, and not only would you blame Huff on that, but Vinny and I talked about it at halftime. The linebackers on the ground. The number of times I saw 53, his jersey facing the sky, not ideal. So that's something we'll certainly look at on the film.
Now, Jason says we don't need to include Nick's press conferences going forward. I think that is up for debate, but we're trying to figure that out. I think we have gotten some feedback otherwise. People do enjoy getting to see that, especially since
one-stop shopping, right?
One-stop shopping, yeah. Mike just giving us that free 99 cents. Love that, Mike. Big fan of your work. Santiago says Booker better than JD and Nolan better than Huff and Schwartz better than Fangio. I mean, I'll tell you what, I definitely agree with that last one. And I know we've talked about how good Jim Schwartz was. We can get to that later in the season. And then Jalen says 2 yards per run in a loaded box all day on 3rd and 4. So there you go. Fran, I guess let's close with, for you, what are the things that you are most looking forward to finding out once you watch the film tomorrow?
Pass game, what was available or not available downfield for Jalen? What did he look like overall? Just because we don't always get those angles watching the broadcast. And then defensively, I don't know that there's going to be anything to see on the final drive, but
I'm curious.
What exactly happened on the final drive from a coverage standpoint, and then the run defense. Just looking at that, I have an idea of what we're going to see, but just being able to play it back over and over and watch that down will be interesting. To your point, Jamie, earlier about Saquon replaying this in his head. Ugh. All these guys. I mean, Darius Slay's in the locker room saying this is on me. Quinyon Mitchell's in the locker room saying, yeah, but Slay gave up the last play, but I gave up the 2 before that, so I put him in a bad spot. All these guys are going to be saying that, for the rest of this week. So this should be a team that, playing with a chip on their shoulder by the time we get to Sunday. But, you got to carry that through.
And yet, to me, the story of this game is going to be the decisions by Nick Sirianni at the end of this game. 22-21 is how the Eagles go down and fall to 1-1. Sirianni's decision to pass the ball on third down, and even worse, take the field goal, going up 6. This is a thing that every NFL head coach should know at this point. That is the wrong decision, and it's why the Eagles have lost this game. And I hope that it is not the thing that we look back on at the end of the season as the beginning of potentially the end for Nick Sirianni's head coach, because this is supposed to be his main job. So,
but
sort of gut check time for everybody.
Before we get out of here, the Bet365 line for next week is out. Would you like to take a guess?
Oh.
I'm going to guess
the Superdome.
I'm going to guess Saints by half a point.
No, I think it'll be more. Saints, we'll say 1.5.
You're both humming right around it. Saints are -1 next week in New Orleans.
There you go.
Fresh off the press. I wasn't out a little bit ago, so I just circled back, and there you have it.
And we will have that ready for you for full coverage next Sunday here on PHLY. And by the way, if you feel like, giving Saquon Barkley a bit of a pick-me-up after the drop, we have our new Saquon Barkley merchandise, which you can buy on the PHLY Locker, PHLYlocker.com. Road to Victory, a nice little image of his travels from Penn State to now in Philadelphia. So that'll do it for this episode of the PHLY Eagles postgame show presented by Bet365. We will be back tomorrow, 2 o'clock, myself, Fran, and Zach Berman to talk about this game and some of the takeaways. And we've got you covered the whole week, 2 o'clock on PHLY and allphly.com for Zach Berman's writing. And Fran's going to have all of his All-22 coverage as well. So that'll do it for this episode. Thanks to Vinny Curry, Jamie Lynch, Fran Duffy, Julia for making it all happen behind the scenes, and everybody else for tuning in live. We will talk to you later. And as always, we love you.
We all silly like the mayor.